Hey guys, let's talk about how we can use the bumper on the Core-Tex strategically to create some advantages both from a regression standpoint, but also how we can influence the outcome of the exercises. I'm Anthony Carey, I'm the creator of the Core-Tex, and what I want to share with you is both a frontal plane and a sagittal plane modification that we can use to when we're using the Core-Tex that may best suit either your clients or your patients. So everybody should be familiar with the instructions for somebody getting on for the very first time. We always recommend that if I'm getting my right on the right side, I'm going to put my right foot on the platform, push the bumper off the inner ring to that side. I can get my client or patient to hold with both hands here, or if it's with the dual here, and then once we get on, we step on and we have that option to keep the Core-Tex planted or pinned as we describe it on one side, or we can go into the normal motions. But some of the other advantages to that, for example, is if I want to be sure that I'm going to get my client or patient to load more symmetrically, or in this case bias them into loading on one side, I will actually have them keep the tilt. So in this case, if the platform is pinned to the left, I'm loading much more heavy on my right, because if I increase my load onto the left side, then we go the other way. So from this position, I can use this to my advantage where I want that client or patient or athlete to really load this side, and if I keep the pressure down on the right and I take them through any number of movements here, the right side is biased in terms of engagement. So I can also do that if I wanted to do any single limb exercises. So here I can take it into a curtsy. I can completely remove this leg, bias the board again. This creates a little bit more of a varus motion at the knee, but I could do the same thing on the opposite side. So if I step to this side and bias the board, now my rear foot is in more of a calcaneal eversion. I can bias it a little bit more to knee valgus if I'm looking for that. But again, I'm taking advantage of the bumper against the side inner ring that biases the platform, but also mitigates the other motions. Now, if I wanted to do something similar with my upper extremities, what I might do is put the weight to the one side here. This is going to bias, obviously, again, the use of the distribution of force coming from the side that's down. So I've moved the platform over. I'm going to keep it there, and if I want to keep it there and take it through a push-up or any upper body loaded position, even if I want to plank from that position, it's going to certainly change the engagement of the muscles. So in this case, it's not necessarily a regression, but it's obviously a change or another variable that we can use. We're taking advantage of the bumper in that position. Now, if I wanted to use the sagittal plane in terms of using the bumper and creating some type of pin motion, and let's say that we have a client that has issues with their wrist in push-ups. If I bias the board here, you can see I'm in less wrist extension and the angle is improved here. So if I have the client with their weight forward on the Core-Tex this way and take them through a push-up, it's much easier on the wrist. Another option that I might have with the wrist is if I actually want extension. This is actually an amazing forearm flexor tissue mobilizers for all you desk jockeys there. If I take my hands and put them here, okay, now I've increased the extension. But one of the other neat things that we can still do, even though we're biasing the sagittal plane for the pin, is I can introduce transverse plane motion here a little bit. So what this does with the rotation of the forearm, while we're in this position, fantastic tissue mobilizer in this position for the upper extremities. Now, if we wanted to also do something for the lower extremity where we bias the board, one of the things that we often will do for first timers, again, where we want to get rid of the handrail, but they're still not ready to stand completely, is we will bias in plantar flexion. So here I am with toes forward. Now, all of us are more comfortable when our weight is forward on the balls of the feet and not back. So in this position, I can have the client's going to feel much more stable without using the handrail, but we could still introduce a little bit of, again, transverse plane motion with them here while they're in this position. So I'm plantar flexed, I feel more stable, bumper is secured against the back, but I still have some transverse plane motion here. If I wanted to do something that was regarding a little bit more dorsiflexion, I may bias the board this way. Okay, so I can have either one or both feet here. So if I biased it with both feet, okay, it's going to challenge my dorsiflexion a little bit more, but I can also use it as a mobilizing technique as well. So if I was really getting after, again, wanting to get below the knee and get a little bit more soleus, I could bias the board in the sagittal plane, so it's moving straight away from me. But once I'm here, I can introduce again, a little bit of transverse plane motion that creates a unique variable input into the tissue because of the relationships of the bones moving in, one bone moving faster than the other as we go through that. So hopefully this is going to be of some advantage to you with your patients or your clients. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you.